Good evening. This is Rich Johnson, RDJ3 video. So Richard Dean Johnson, that third. That's kind of where we get the channel name from. This is my first Facebook Live that I've done that I can recall. So I just want to see what happens when I stop recording. Can I share? Can I edit? How can I reuse the video to help me out? So this is just a test run. Well, anyway. I had to pick a topic to talk about. I think we're going to look at my baseball card trading history, and I would say it goes back to the early '80s. I'm almost pushing 50 years old, and it would have been like '82 to 1984. I would have had a friend named Brian where we would have flipped through many Fleer cards at the time. I remember one of the highlights was us watching the 1982 World Series together with the St. Louis Cardinals and the Milwaukee Brewers. And on the playground during school days, we would play kickball, and one of us would pretend to be Robin Yount, and the others would be Cecil Cooper, Gorman Thomas, Paul Molitor. But it would have started there. I don't really remember purchasing cards at that time, but I know that I did acquire some of those 82 to 84 Fleer baseball cards. Living in New Jersey as a kid, I wasn't quite yet a Yankee fan, so I wasn't watching a ton of baseball. But at some point, we moved on to a different city in New Jersey. And in 1985, I don't recall buying a whole lot of baseball cards. And we would have then moved on again because my dad was in the print industry. We transferred to Kentucky in 1986. And that's when I first would have encountered kind of just starting to spend the allowance on baseball cards. I remember my next door neighbor bought a box of those 1986 Topps cards, which we all know the 86 Topps traded set is pretty cool. The base set for that year, and there's a reason junk wax is called hot garbage. There's not a whole lot in there other than Roger Clemens. And then the allowance would have gone full bore into card collecting in about 1987. So the highlight of my trading years would have been 1987 to about 1992. Things started to trail off as I graduated high school, 93, 94, 95. I was in college, didn't really have money to be spending on baseball cards, although I did buy some, and many of which I didn't even bother opening until recently when we got into this whole YouTube thing with ripping open packs. From there, I would have graduated from college and entered the TV industry and had no money to be collecting. So we kind of pressed pause on collecting baseball cards in that 1996 to about 2010 range. That's a long period of not even bothering with it. I had basically, once I left the TV industry and come out to California, I got into the print industry. So a lot of my money was being poured into, buying computer software, sports game stuff on the computer and whatnot. Just didn't really bother with collecting trading cards. I finally got that bug in about 2010 when my daughter had recently been born, and I was looking for some kind of hobby and started researching what it would be like to get back into collecting cards. In 2010, I would have bought some stuff, a few packs here or there, but it never really took. That's when I would have started investigating on like a Dean's Cards website and realizing that pretty much anything after 1981 was worthless. Anything prior to that, when Topps kind of had that first monopoly on cards, that's when you saw that there was stuff that was of value, not much of which I even had. The 2010 range, my most coveted card still would have been, a 1984 Don Mattingly Fleer card. I had, kind of become a Yankee fan by 87, 49ers in 1987. So he was my guy, and the Yankees were my team ever since then. So the short-lived collecting in 2010, 2011 didn't net me more than maybe, a couple hundred cards, and I kind of fell out of it. Never really got back into the hobby full bore. Now let's fast forward to COVID times, when that's pretty much when everybody got involved in the hobby. Most recently, my brother had started sharing things that he had picked up along the way. He was even sharing Junk Wax Sal shorts, where you're seeing that really people are making videos of them opening cards on the internet. Like, how bored are we? But it was actually kind of entertaining to see. I still kind of refused to get into buying cards at that time because my COVID activity ended up being learning how to play golf, which is something I had done a little bit as a kid back in the Kentucky days. So that was kind of what I decided to do. So still, once again, resisting, you know, spending a bunch of money on baseball cards. I didn't quite understand how it all worked. And then I'd say last year, 2023 in the spring, I made the mistake of pulling out all the boxes and the binders and started to go through the cards with my daughter, Hope, who enjoys looking through old photo albums. She kind of likes watching baseball with me and whatnot. And that's kind of when we fell down the rabbit hole. So we started organizing cards in the spring of that year. And then by summertime, my brother came out for a visit. We had bought some cards that we had ripped. And then from there, it kind of took off a little bit. I started purchasing cards in the summer of 2023, and then that's kind of where we are now. My focus has been to kind of backfill to 2020. So the stuff that you've seen posted is in that 2020 to 2024 range. And whatever I could find at the local hobby shop, anything on the cheap. He repacks a bunch of junk wax for $1 that were upsets that maybe I didn't have. So we've had fun flipping through some of that stuff. But that's just basically a little brief history of how I got to here. I mean, how we got into YouTube and all that. That's probably a story for a different video. This one, I just wanted to do a live video just to see how it works, so that once I hit stop, I can see what I can do with the footage, whether I can download it and edit it and whatnot. So there really wasn't really trying to accomplish a whole lot here, other than just see that this live feature actually works on YouTube. So I thank you for watching the videos that we have posted and shared. Like and subscribe if you feel so inclined, and have a good night. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'd have to find out how to actually stop this thing now.